Okay, so we've talked about why we're going to obey Jesus, and this is part of our identity. And then we've talked about who. Who are we going to begin to reach? And we've drawn out our people map. And this helps us understand who we can begin to make disciples of. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look at what to say. I'm just going to look at this first part of what to say. And you know, every one of us has a story to share. So we're going to call this your story. Okay? And hopefully our stories centre on Jesus, about how we came to know him and just made him the king of our lives. Okay, so that's the story we're going to share together. And when we're teaching people to share their story, we just use a real simple opening line. Okay, it goes like this. There was a time in my life when ... Here you go. Okay, so just a simple opening line, and then we're going to think of two words that describe our life before we met Jesus. Then we're going to think of two words that really describe how we met Jesus. And then two words that describe what our life has been like since we met Jesus. Okay? And then we ask a question at the end, just to finish off. Do you have a story like that? Okay, it's a great way to end your story. So I tell you what, if you've got this drawn out just in that simple pattern, what I'll do is I'll just share my story with us, and then maybe we'll just listen and pull out the words that I use. So here we go. There was a time in my life when I was far from God and very rebellious. And I had some Christian friends, and they kept sharing with me about Jesus. You know, really to my surprise, I believed the things they were saying to me about Jesus. And as I believed, you know, my life turned around overnight. And I've discovered a real sense of purpose and hope since I've been following Jesus. Do you have a story like that? There you go. Okay, so that's my story. So why don't we just pull out the words that I used? Okay, so I was far from God. That's right. Yeah. And rebellious. Okay. And then I had some friends who kept sharing with me about Jesus. That's right. And I believed the things they were saying about Jesus. And my life, it just turned around. Two words. Okay. Turned around overnight. And since then, I've discovered a real sense of purpose and hope. Okay, and now I've finished with, do you have a story like that? So I wonder if you could just take a moment, and maybe you just want to think about the 6 words that you would use to share your story. You could write them in on your sheet of paper. Now, there's always some people who say to me, I don't really have a story of my life before I met Jesus. You know, perhaps they were always brought up in church, and they've always believed from, you know, their earliest memory is one of believing in God and on Jesus. And if that's you, just think of a time in your life when things weren't going so well. You trusted Jesus in a certain way, and he helped you through and brought you through. Okay, and see if you can use that as a story to share with people. Okay, so hopefully you've got your 6 words. What I'd like you to do now is maybe just turn to your partner, and maybe you could just share your story with each other. So one of you go first. Start here. There was a time in my life, and just share the story. Finish with the question, do you have a story like that? And then let them share back to you. And maybe have a few practices. It takes a little while just to practice. So there you go. And then have a go at that. Have a practice with each other. And then we'll come back and we'll do the next part.